And now we have just this division. Not that I'm saying this out loud, Paul. I think it's because Gunn didn't use Cavill. This is probably the root of the problem. What do you think?
I think it was kind of. I think Henry Cavill did get screwed over, and they even make a joke about it in Deadpool, where he was out of it for so long, and then they had that big announcement where he posted. He came back for Black Adam. Even in the build up to Black Adam, The Rock, was like, yeah, Henry Cavill's gonna. He pretty much spoiled that Henry Cavill was in it.
He did,
and then obviously Cavill. Yeah, Cavill put out the post. We heard that Man of Steel 2 was getting written. It's just mismanagement. I think it built people's hopes up.
Welcome to the latest in the interview series where we talk to people attached with film entertainment and influencers as well. I want to welcome to the platform a platform I've been following for the longest. Very, very cool, very festive as well, and successful. Videos trending all the time. Some are trying to realize, like, what's worse, that they spoil every project that you watch before you can watch it, or the dad jokes. I don't know which one it is, but I'm gonna go with the dad jokes. Welcome, Paul from Heavy Spoilers. Welcome.
Thank you for having me on. This is my second podcast of the day. So if I'm wearing the same clothes across two podcasts, you guys, it's not because I'm cheap,
Hey, I do it all the time. People make fun of my clothes all the time, so it's all good. But we are here talking about, like I said, the latest in geek culture film. This has been a long time coming, Paul. We've been talking off and on. Life things got in the way, and we're finally here for sure. Now, I'm sure most people on my platform is familiar with what you do, but it's always nice to get the origin story.
So it started. So I was a website designer, and I just used to read loads of graphic novels. And my friend was he started his own website. He's like an SEO consultant or something. And he was like, "Oh, we're starting a nerd website. Come and write for us." So I was like, "Look, I've got pretty much every Batman graphic novel out there. I'm going to read them and I'll review them for your website." Now, I post quite a lot on YouTube, and that's all written, recorded, edited script. So you can imagine just doing the writing, I was sending in like 6 reviews a day. And he was like, "Look, we haven't got time to review these and put these on the site." And he just stopped responding. So I was like, I'll build my own website and put them on there. And then when Batman v Superman, the extended cut came out, I didn't like the theatrical cut. I probably was in trouble in the comments already.
Stones are coming.
I'm pushing myself as like, I'm a Batman fan. I'm reviewing all the graphic novels. I'm an expert. I didn't like this movie, but I'm gonna give this extended version a chance, and that'll give you kind of. And if I like it, surely that's an informed opinion, a fair one. And I did. I really enjoy the extended cut of Batman v Superman. I did a YouTube video where I was just playing Arkham Asylum and not Arkham Asylum, Arkham City. Or it was night or something. It was basically it was night. And I was recording the footage. I was recording the footage and just talking over the top of it, but I was kicking the ass on the footage. You know what I mean? I was killing it. I got platinums on all those games.
Going.
Yeah, mate. They didn't stand a chance. But I just kind of mumbled through my review over the top of that. I think that got 6,000 views overnight because it was kind of. It's sort of something I think is going to happen with Rebel Moon as well, where I don't think many people are going to cover the director's cut, and we're not actually covering it because just purely down to time, because we've got House of the Dragons just leaked through the week, and I was going to get up on Sunday morning at 2 a.m. to review it. HBO's just sent it out now, and it's like, oh well, I don't want to wake up at 2 a.m., so I'm just going to work through all the next couple of days and get that done. So I haven't got the chance to do it because I know it's like 6 hours. But I think a similar thing will happen there, where Batman v Superman came out, people didn't like the theatrical cut. There are some people that didn't. But then the people who were like, "Oh well, we've watched the extended cut for you to tell you what it's about." they get more eyes on them because the big reviewers are
Mm-hmm.
refusing to do it. And I think that's going
Mm-hmm.
to happen with Rebel Moon again. But yeah, 6,000 views overnight, which when you're starting out is insane. And I just thought, there's something in this YouTube thing that it's it's getting my content out there more than just having a random
Interesting.
website somewhere on the internet.
Yeah, definitely. I think that's I'm sure many people was our introduction to you because I I guess I identify as a Snyder bro. I love what Zack Snyder
Yeah,
did with Man
I
of
do as well.
Steel.
But right, you know what it's like, Sil. You say one fair and maybe critical thing somewhere along the lines, like you
Hey,
motherfucking gun lover.
I swear, stone him.
Yeah, kill
But
him.
but
Traitor.
yeah, exactly. It's right. When I see more DC happen, I'm always interested in DC, and we'll talk about that more
Yeah.
for sure. But
Yeah, I
with
was more of a
with
DC guy growing up as well. I was always a DC guy. Watchmen, V for Vendetta. I think on the whole, they have more classic graphic novels than Marvel
mm-hmm.
do by quite a bit. Like if you name like the
Yep.
top 10 best graphic novels of all time, like Dark Knight Returns is going to come up. Killing Joke,
Mm-hmm. Long
Watchmen, V for
Halloween.
Vendetta. Exactly,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Whereas Marvel,
Plenty.
they don't really have those class. They obviously do,
Mm,
but they're not the
Probably
first ones
Civil
that spring to
War.
mind.
If we're saying top 20, probably Civil War will find its
Yeah,
way. The real Civil War, right? Not though I like the film, but come on,
yeah.
we know the
Secret Wars,
truth,
I think,
right?
would be on there as well. But
Yeah,
those are
oh for sure, for
those
sure.
aren't self-contained like Civil War. I mean, I've got all the Civil War comics, and there's like 15 graphic novels, and Secret Wars. You have to read so much. I read Secret Wars, my first ever reading, without ever reading the build-up to it, and I was like, I don't know what the fuck's going on here.
And you talking about the original one, right? You talking about the
No,
first
the
sequel? Oh,
2015 one.
Battlegrounds. Okay, got you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. So I
yeah.
had no idea about that. And then, whereas I think with DC, it's like pick up Dark Knight Returns or Year One
You
or
jump
something. You
right in
don't
it.
need to read. Yeah, exactly. Whereas
Mm-hmm.
I think Marvel, you need
Mm-hmm.
kind of the build up with Civil War and Secret Wars. But once you have that build up, they're incredible stories.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And so I mean that is kind of the difference with DC Marvel. You find different things that you like in it. To kind of go into just briefly, you was talking about you covered the Ultimate Edition of BVS, and again we'll pick up on some Zack Snyder stuff later. But after that, you have the whole Snyder Cut situation where it's like BVS, and just to be fair, when the theatrical BVS came out, as much as I loved what I saw, I knew the word of mouth wasn't there for the general audience for the theatrical cut. Then the Ultimate Edition comes out, and you get more people on board. But by that time, they're trying to push Zack Snyder out, right? And
Yeah.
then you got Joss Whedon, the Justice League, as we call it, and then the Snyder Cut became a thing for a couple years. What was your kind of experience with that, and just with your platform? It was a pipe dream, they said, Paul, and then it actually happened.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not saying like I was at the front line of being a Snyder Cut push supporter, but I mean I did so many videos on it and they got a lot of traction. And it was always something that I was very, very interested in. We saw that original trailer. Was it at Comic-Con? There was the original like
Yeah,
Justice League trailer that was very Zack Snydery. And then when Justice League released, it was kind of like there was always that, and it was the same with the air cut as well, where it's kind of like we've seen a trailer that hints at what this film is that isn't the film that was released, and it kind of piqued my interest a lot, and I started looking into it, and then I think the pandemic was kind of a perfect storm for it, especially with HBO Max, where it was kind of like, I mean, Disney's run into a problem, I think, at the moment with Disney Plus, where they've got a streaming service, they need content, so they're just greenlighting shows left and right with Star Wars and Marvel, and being like, we need a show for this, quick, just make whatever you can. And obviously, these services, they need content to survive because
it's
people
content.
are just going to unsubscribe. So it was kind of like a perfect storm in the pandemic because they couldn't really make new stuff, and they had this film sitting around that people were desperate to see. It was a massive movement. And I kind of when there was an inkling that it was being worked on, and there was like we heard rumors that there was like Zoic Studios and stuff like that were doing the VFX, and there was like little things kind of trickling
I
through.
remember that.
And Zach would every couple of weeks or months would release like a black and white photo from it, and it's like
Mhm,
it just built up a hype, and it was such a good time in the fandom. And
mhm.
DC completely mishandled that entire. I
Oh my
remember like
goodness.
the execs coming out and saying it was a cul-de-sac and going nowhere and stuff, and it's kind of like,
It
well, just see how it plays out, just see what the fan reception's like.
Right, because like I feel probably the best moment in like DC fandom most recently was the first DC fandom where it was
Yeah,
all
so
online,
good.
right? What was that 2020, I believe? And so
Yeah,
you had the Snyder Cut trailer, the Hallelujah trailer. You had Matt Reeves Batman. You had everything. James Gunn Suicide Squad. Everything was like getting its shine, and that's how DC can be. And then just went to shit after that.
yeah, and it was a new fresh idea at the time as well to have DC fandom. I don't know why they don't do it anymore. I mean, to me, it's better than these big events they have. Like I can see the appeal
Yeah.
of that, but it was just like it was amazing. It was you could just sit and just watch it and just watch it, and
Yep.
every single thing was like a surprise. And obviously, The Rock
Mhm.
coming out and saying the hierarchy of power, and
Yeah.
that became a meme, and it was like I'm sure he
well,
said it
well,
about 5 times through that thing, but
we didn't know he was talking about James Gunn and Peter Safran. We didn't know the
yeah,
hierarchy.
yeah,
It wasn't him. It
yeah,
was it was someone else. But that's how I actually launched my platform during fandom. And again, the Snyder Cut and things like that. So that was a golden time for DC. Not right now. We'll pick up on
yeah.
DC in just a moment here, but
That was like the worst day of my content creation life, like in terms of workload, because I had
oh
everything. It was
yeah.
it was the first time I was ever going to do a live stream. I had everything set up. I bought like a 30-meter long Ethernet cable to plug in from my office into the house. 2 minutes into the live stream, crashes, internet goes down,
Oh shoot.
just so much stress. So I decided to do reaction videos. And yeah, I was just filming, uploading, filming, uploading, and I wasn't even really paying that much attention to the event. And then it hit a point where I think the first images of the Batman got leaked, and then there was like a Russian trailer for the
Mm-hmm.
Batman got, and I'm like, I need to just get ahead of this, and just kept filming. And I remember it hit
Yeah.
2 a.m. here, and I just collapsed on my couch, and I had such a buzz. I had such a buzz and feeling of accomplishment going through that day, but yeah, it was non-stop. It was
it
literally
was
like working in a busy newsroom where every single story is
yeah.
front page news.
It was crazy because like I'm into the comics and then film, TV, streaming, and the like I said the Batman leaked and the Snyder Cut trailer leaked as well. So I was on that
It was
pretty
yeah, was that in
early.
Russian? Yeah. Because someone
Mm-hmm.
hacked the stream or something and found a way to skip ahead. It wasn't going out live, or like it was a recorded video being played, and they found a way to skip ahead, which I wish I
It's
could have done
insane.
because it was a long day. Yeah.
Oh man, we had to sit through a few things. So that was a very interesting sign for DC fans, and we'll kind of talk about the current climate of DC in a moment, Paul. But I do want to get your takes on just a few other things that I saw you covered on your platform that kind of translates to what we talk about over here as well. On my platform, of course, we talk all the geek culture, film, entertainment, just what's hot out there or hot topics. Because certain
Mm.
topics, certain shows ain't hot, but it's a hot
Yep.
topic, like the Acolyte. Now you have a pretty cool video, you and your team over there that I really enjoyed y'all coverage of the Acolyte, and probably in ways that probably I shouldn't have, but overall, and I'm gonna make this very clear, I'm a casual Star Wars fan, Paul. Right? I'm not one of those who read all the novels and everything and the legends or whatever they call it now. Original trilogy, prequel, yeah, I thought it was cool at first. It got better over time. We all love Hayden Christensen now, and most of us hates Disney trilogy, right? Acolyte comes out. How do you define that, and how big of a Star Wars fan you are? I really don't know. Um, Just
like that was my first love.
what's your conclusion with this? Yeah.
It was my first love was probably Batman, Star Wars, and Power Rangers. Those were like my three things when I was a kid. I know everything about the original trilogy, even the original version. Like, there's some people out there who'd be like, "I love A New Hope." I'm like, "You've never even seen A New Hope." They're like, "I've got the Blu-rays." I'm like, "I'm talking about the 1977 film print that was only shown in cinemas, and all the special edition changes have been removed." But like all the games, Rogue Squadron, Pod Racer, Battle for Naboo, like N64, Heir to the Empire, I had all that stuff. I was a massive fan of it. I started going off in the prequels. You know, I went to see all of those films opening night. That was like a tradition with me. My dad had was like, we'll go out see the film Star Wars on the night it releases, and I went to see all of them, and I could feel myself being like, I don't think it like Phantom Menace was kind of I was at an age where I was still like every single film I watch is good. But Attack of the Clones, I was like, oh. But then Yoda came out with a lightsaber at the end. I was like, oh shit, it's amazing.
It saved the whole film, right?
Yeah,
That's good,
yeah. Revenge of the Sith really liked. And then it was kind of after that I sort of drifted off, and they started launching like the Clone Wars and stuff. And I've seen all that stuff now, but I wasn't following it along at the time.
So you're more
I am,
casual, Paul, right? If you would
yeah.
say,
So yeah, I would say like hardcore when I was younger.
okay.
I know enough to win a pub quiz, you know what I mean? But all the crazy stuff, and then I kind of jumped back on recently, like with Bad Batch and stuff like that. And when Disney Plus and when they pushed out Mandalorian, that was like my jumping back on point again. Not just Mandalorian, like the Force Awakens and stuff. So that's kind of when I got back involved. But there was a long hiatus where I was like, yeah, whatever. It's kind of like Lord of the Rings now, where I was like a massive fan, and then it just kind of drifted off. Whereas something like Batman is something I've literally just been a fan of my whole life. Acolyte. So we got the first 4 episodes early, and I watched them, and MT watched them, and I was like, "These are fucking shit, mate." And MT was like, "Oh, I really like them." I'm like, "Well, it's your job now, mate. Your job now." Because we are trying to, yeah, we try and be a positive channel, but not just that. It's not like, oh, you have to be positive. It's more the fact that it's draining covering these shows if you don't like them, especially with The Boys and House of the Dragon that was on at the same time. So at the start of the year, my wife was like, well, you know, I basically never take time off. And there's been times when we went away on holiday and something like Loki's been announced as coming out that week, and we've cut the holiday short, and we've had to go from like a 7-day thing to a 2-day thing and lose money. So at the start of the year, we're like, we'll just book it in for June. We'll book it in start of June. It'll be fine. There's no way they're going to release the 2 biggest shows of the year in that week. There's no way. And obviously they release, 3 episodes of The Boys and House of the Dragon in the same week, on the week that we go away. And the way it dropped, so we left on the Thursday and came back the Thursday. So I had to have the first 3 episodes of The Boys done, episode 4 done, which was coming out the next Thursday, and House of the Dragon 1, and probably House of the Dragon 2, because we were getting back Thursday night, and it was going to be difficult to do like a big breakdown on a Friday and get it all done in time with my editors and stuff. Now I'm telling you, this is why I didn't want to do the Acolyte on top of all that. And yeah, when MT liked it, and I was like, "You just take it, mate." So I think just in general, I didn't like the show as a whole. I think it kind of had the opposite problem that a lot of Disney Plus shows have, where the finale was really good, but the rest of the season was pretty bad, except for that one episode. And I think
episode
just
5
pacing-wise,
when they murdered all the Jedi.
you know exactly, you know exactly what it is. And I know there's people like breaking down the fight and going in depth and why the fight's rubbish, but just sitting, just casual viewer.
I take what I could get at for 4 episodes right there, Paul. I was like, okay, this is good.
Yeah, exactly. This is more what we want to see. Just keep doing this every week. Characters, the motivation for them was just kind of all over the place. It makes the Jedi look really stupid, which you can say people are like, oh well, in the Phantom Menace they were like that, and it's like, yeah, but there's 100 years in between it. It's like surely they weren't that incompetent for all that time.
They should have been
Um,
better 100 years ago.
yeah, and I hate when shows do something where it's like we have a more interesting story that will tease is coming down the line. It's like, no, like Darth Plagueis and Yoda. If you remove them from the show, it doesn't change anything about the show, but they're clearly put at the
Mm.
end to be like, oh wait, season, are you
See?
guys not excited for season 2? We've got these guys.
You
It's like,
drinking it?
yeah, I don't, yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're gonna drink. It's like, no, I don't care at this point. And I think in
Oh
general, Star
man.
Wars has just been diminishing returns.
Yeah.
They don't really feel like they know they're in touch with their audience. And look, I know people bring up review bombing and stuff like that. I think even if you take the review bombing away, like, because there was, like, I know there's people like, there's
Yeah,
no such
it
thing as
is.
review bombing. People just don't like the show, which is fair enough. But there were reviews out before the show released that were
Yeah,
saying it
yeah.
was bad.
It's
But
review bombing, folks. Like, yeah, let's keep it real.
yeah, yeah. But even if you took those away, I don't
The
think the
show
show's
is
like,
shit.
yeah, I don't think it's, yeah, I don't think it's saving the show. You know what I mean? So yeah, it was such a weird time to be a fan, and I knew from episode one,
Mm,
because I'd obviously seen the first 4, and I knew from episode
right.
1 when they were saying campfires in space, and they were complaining about that. I was like, "Phew, fucking hell! If they're mad about
This about
that,
to,
geez, we've got
yeah, right.
4 weeks."
Wait till you get to episode 3, buddy. But it's like
He had him
with,
Monday,
with
bro.
with that show, because like you, I mean, like I said, I'm like I said, more of a casual. Cause same as you, like you kind of jump on at the high points with Mandalorian. I love the first 2 seasons of
Yeah,
Mandalorian. Season 3 is probably another story, but I'm looking forward to the Mandalorian Grogu film. I played nice with Star Wars fans, and I think with the Acolyte, they lost me very early on that show. I only continued watching after episode 4 because a friend of mine, she has a channel, she did a watch party. I was like, okay, I'll go ahead and join for episode 5. And I love episode 5. I was like,
yeah,
yo,
you
this is
shill, you shill.
emo.
Yeah,
Right. I get it from both
Sylabdul.
ways. Like,
Yeah,
yeah, that's the name they called me back in the day. Yeah, Chill
I
out,
know.
totally. So it's like I'm used to that, right? Like you can't like it, and that's funny what you said, Paul. Because like I love your posts when you come out with something like either way of the needle, like you
Yeah,
just define immediately, right? You're a shield or you're a hater or like.
yeah. It's because
So
people
you
don't
used to
like
that.
cannot have. It's a lost art of having a conversation. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't care what you've said. I'm just going to label you as one thing, and there's absolutely no nuance to your points. And it's like, well, I think that says more about you than it says about me, because you literally
Exactly.
just see things as like, yeah,
Very black and white, and it's
yeah,
like
just a
I like
binary
on
view of the world.
exactly on my platform. I always say we try to give an informative and objective uh, view of geek culture, film, and entertainment. People don't hear that when I say it, but it's like I do try to. I like the conversation of it, and if it's so extreme either way, it's no
Yeah,
conversation, no conversation at all. You know.
I would say I don't go to reviewers that are either positive all the time or they're negative all the time. I think there should be
Mm-hmm.
a point where you can see where a reviewer likes something, and then if they're positive about it, and even if I disagree with them, I'm still like, well,
Mm-hmm.
they're being positive, and then I'll see them be negative about something, and I'll be like, well, at least I know they are not just saying things for certain reasons.
Right. It's like I love when people just give me reasons why you're rocking with this or you hate it. With the Acolyte, I had a really great practice. I can tell you why I hate the shit writing and some of the
Yeah,
terrible scenes. I can tell you why. And so when people, but on the other spectrum, again, it's very dogmatic where oh no, you just gotta like this, and I don't want to get too messy when I say this, but you gotta like this because it's a representation, and it's like you should if you want representation, you should expect supreme writing with that
yeah.
representation.
That
I would
was
love that.
I got a lot of that with Echo when I said Echo was bad. And it was like, yeah, you shouldn't be shitting on. I even had people saying like you shouldn't be releasing negative reviews on this show because it's gonna hurt people's chances of getting these
Mm,
shows. I'm like, well, do you not think the representation should be that like Marvel don't care about it as much as you do because it was meant to be however many episodes long. They dropped it down to 5. They shoved it out the door every day. There's never been a Marvel show where it's been like all episodes day one. It's like, do you feel they're doing like right by
What's the
you?
confidence?
Or yeah, exactly. And it's kind of like,
Right.
look, I want it to be good. Like I'd say we
Yeah.
genuinely like generally we tend to skew towards being more positive about things. And even when stuff's bad, I'll either be like, MT, do you want to do this? Or I'll say nice things about it. And, like The Acolyte was a
Poor
good
MT.
example where, yeah, the Acolyte was a good example of where I was like, well, look, I think the story structure's messy, blah, blah, blah. But I think choreography-wise, it's really well put together. I think those guys should be brought forward on other Star Wars projects and they can really do great stuff on it. So, yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. I think again, it's
Yeah.
just people have lost nuance, and it's
I agree.
I think studios rely on it a lot though because they need people to defend their product because that's what it is at the end of the day. It's a product to them, and if they can just attach it to identity politics or something that people feel passionate about, that will argue about, because they personally feel that's an important issue to push, they'll do the work for them and defend the show.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's
Yeah.
always on the internet. It's always on the internet. And I mean, if you meet someone in real life who says the Acolyte shit, you're like, whoa, do you think you should be saying this? Just stop because it's damaging. And it's like, yeah, it's just on the internet.
That's why I say with people, and again on my platform, I think I've said it plenty of times, and so they know when I say this, with representation, I don't mind if you want to get messaging out there, just give us a good product. Black Panther, you get the Coogler brothers, pretty much did that, and that was a cultural phenomenon. Like it was all about representation. They made it very clear Black Panther was their diversity play, but it was entertaining, and that's
They
all.
put everything into it. Yeah.
Michael B. Jordan had a big part with that too, but that's what it's about. If you want to make this play, I ain't even mad if you want to do politics with it. Just give us a good product, man.
But look who they got for Black Panther. Yeah, like Forrest Whitaker. I sometimes I forget he's in that
Angela
movie,
Bassett.
but yeah, Angela Bassett. They got went and got they put their all into Black Panther. They really wanted to make that successful. It wasn't just a case of whatever, just make a Black Panther movie. It was
just make a
what's
Black
the best
Panther
Black. Yeah, they wanted him, and sadly, Chadwick passed away. But Marvel clearly wanted him to be a big hero going into phases 4 and 5, and they gave him an introduction to Civil War. They gave him a great movie with Black Panther. Wakanda Forever, we'll never see what movie that was originally going to be, but from what I've heard, there was a lot of effort put into it, and that was going to be a big point.
Yeah.
And even when Chadwick died, it wasn't like, oh, just throw away that movie. Then they still worked at it and tried to make the best possible thing they could.
They did the best they could with that, and it's like, I mean, yeah, it's not. It wasn't Wakanda Forever wasn't the best film, but I do appreciate them, kind of pushing Shuri, and Angela Bassett should have won the Oscar, I think, for supporting role right there. So they did the best they could. I mean, it's crazy circumstances, right? You're working on developing this film for a couple of years, and he passes, and so I get it. But that's
even the villain, the villain
Submariner,
Submariner, Namor, that's a big Marvel character. It's not like something like Whiplash and Iron Man 2, where it's like, oh, which side villain can we put in? It's like, no, give Black Panther like a big villain to fight, a big character. So they clearly put a lot of effort into the film.
That would have been awesome. Yeah, that would have been awesome to see. And so, like I said, it's about that effort, and that's what it is. Like, yeah, I'm for, like I said, if you want to make some statement, or, I mean, I don't feel everything should be a diversity play, but if you're going to do it, just give us quality. That's all that we're saying now. Let's shift gears here to the current phenomenon going on here. Deadpool Wolverine has
that's me
taking over theaters, right? At this time, it's over 500 million globally box office. It's going to clearly get past $1 billion, probably 1.5 plus, maybe. What was your experience with this? And is the hype real to you with this film?
I really enjoyed it. I can see the flaws in it. I think in general with a comedy, you're more forgiving of things because you're not necessarily looking out for like, oh, it must be amazing cinematography. You know, the score must be fantastic. A comedy is normally just like, did it entertain me and did it make me laugh? And it does those things, but it's also got, you know, it's bringing back Hugh Jackman as Wolverine. It's introducing Deadpool into the MCU. That like I've got videos from years ago where I'm talking about my theories on how I think Deadpool is going to be brought across into the MCU and will it be R rated and will it have certain stuff in? And
Hmm.
they did all that stuff. Like Marvel, this is their first R rated movie, and they brought back, you know, Chris Evans as like I didn't think I'd
Yeah,
see Chris Evans in the MCU again. You know, they got Wesley Snipes back as Blade. Never thought I'd see that
wonderful.
again. Jennifer Garner as Elektra and Gambit, Channing Tatum as Gambit. Like that movie
Channing
was stuck in
Tatum
development hell.
looked
Yeah,
amazing.
and it's all kind of like obscure cameos almost because it's kind of
Mhm,
like it's not like I don't know, like your Patrick Stewart or something like that, or Toby Maguire and
mhm,
Andrew Garfield. It's not that level of cameo, but it's been like, look,
mhm,
these are the rejects in the void that people have just thrown away, and we're using them in a way to kind of propel the Marvel universe forward. Yeah, I thought it was a really, really good, fun movie. Hugh
mhm.
Jackman, you know, he's been doing this 24 years as Wolverine, still hasn't stuff that he
Looks
still seems
great.
excited about the role. He's Ryan Reynolds is great. He clearly loves the character, and I think it was just kind of a. It was like it's been described as a love letter to those
Yeah.
Fox Marvel films, and that's what it feels like. You know, Dark Phoenix could have
Mhm.
been, or New Mutants even could have been the last Fox Marvel movie. And yeah, just it's nice that it's one of those other things where I can tell Marvel needed a hit. It wasn't just a case of like
Mm.
we need content for a streaming service or we need another superhero film. It was like, look, let's make a good movie. Let's try and get everyone back, who we can,
Yeah.
who's going to make sense of the story, and let's make it as good as we can.
I think they did that, right? I think they
Yeah,
accomplished, all them quadrants that you mentioned. Like, it wasn't just, hey, let's throw this Eternals film out there, right? It
yeah,
was like less, Deadpool. First off, Deadpool fans, and I've talked to many of them, like hardcore Deadpool fans, like they're just glazing all over this film. You got the whole Deadpool core, they're going nuts over this. And Ryan Reynolds was like peak form the entire film, his antics, his one-liners. That's probably one of the funny. It's probably one of the funniest films I've seen in recent times. Like, really,
yeah,
it's hilarious, hilarious film. And then you get the fan service. Wesley Snipes is amazing. He had one of the best jokes in MCU history, where he's like, "There's
yeah,
only one blade,"
yeah.
and
There's
Ryan
only
Reynolds
ever
looking
going
at
to
the
be one.
camera. And, who's gonna tell him? Who's gonna tell him that they got
Yeah,
amazing moments in this film, right? And yeah, Hugh Jackman, man, it was a lot in this film. Now, I think the question, it's a good film. I think most people, the consensus is there.
yeah.
And again, before a second weekend, it's already over 500 million, so it's going to go nuts. What do you kind of rank, just in your personal, what do you rank this? Because I say my
Uh,
top tier Marvel films is Infinity War, Winter
yeah,
Soldier, first Iron Man. Um, I put it kind of right on it because, and people got mad at me in my last stream. I said there are moments in this, though I love this Deadpool Wolverine film. There are moments that felt a little long when Deadpool Wolverine kept fighting like in the car, and it's like, okay, I get it, like okay, but and then Cassandra Nova when she like grabs people's brains, it was like long sequences for me. So I'm
yeah.
like, it's right like low S tier. I don't put it like Infinity War,
No,
Winter Soldier, Iron Man, first Iron Man, right? But where do you kind of put this at?
yeah. I mean, so yeah, I'd say it's either Avengers Endgame or Infinity War that are my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
Might even be Endgame, but every time I watch Infinity War, I'm like, no, this is this is like the perfect length film. It's just bang, 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 bang.
It's a
Iron
crossover
Man,
comic, Infinity War. This is
yeah,
amazing.
Iron Man's really high up for me as well, and a lot of people don't give it its due, but I think it's just fan. I think it's nearly a perfect film. I'd say it's like RoboCop almost in a way, where it's kind of like just a
It's a good
perfect
comparison.
film. Um, yeah, I'm just looking at my Blu-rays on the wall now, trying to see where I'd slot it.
Because I put things kind of in tiers because it's like I know like what's like the best of
Yeah,
the best I've
I
seen,
would
and then
say
I
it's
know
in an
what's
A
kind of under
tier.
it. A tier, okay.
I was
Kind of
thinking, yeah,
high A tier, probably. Yeah.
and it's purely because I think Days of Future Past is a better Wolverine
Oh,
movie,
okay.
and
So you
Logan's
put
a
the
better
Fox.
Wolverine
Okay,
movie as well.
that's fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I would say both Logan and Days of Future Past are better films than it, and I think what I get out of them from Hugh Jackman might just put it above that. But yeah, I
Interesting.
mean, it's still up there, definitely. Yeah, I don't know
I
if I got
say,
recency bias.
of course. I think with the Hugh Jackman because that's the
Civil
first
War,
I
brilliant.
noticed. You think Civil War is
Yeah,
better than Deadpool Wolverine?
I would say. Yeah, I would say I prefer Civil War
Okay,
over it.
fair. Because there's moments, obviously. I mean, you got the Spider-Man, the Black Panther. They put a lot in Civil War, which kind of wasn't
Yeah,
fair for it to be a Captain America 3 film. It was pretty much an Avengers film, but I feel in Deadpool Wolverine that the Hugh Jackman again. I love every moment Hugh Jackman's on camera. So let me preface that. Like
yeah,
he is Wolverine for our generation, right? But I did feel he was kind of, this is Deadpool's movie. It's more of a Deadpool story. Hugh Jackman is there. Now, third act, he gets the mask on. He destroys the Deadpool core. That was great. But then you mentioned Logan. Third act Logan. Now, that was Wolverine. Okay.
yeah,
You can't. And in the movie, I like the film is so self-aware because of Ryan Reynolds and Sean Levy. They knew they could not even match Logan as far as Wolverine, and I like how they did that in the film. So I think that's fair. Days of Future Past, it's probably debatable. Yeah, that's debatable if you think that's
I think the road cut of that kind of
fair. So yeah, good stuff. I mean, like I said, MCU, I
But
think
that
it
was
is
also
definitely back.
sort of, Days of Future Past was also sort of the first time that they ever had like the old actors and meeting the new ones in kind of time travel. It did Endgame before Endgame.
I tell you, I remember I went to opening weekend of Days of Future Past, and like that opening sequence, like fucked me up. Like they killed Iceman and killed Apache or Warpath, whatever his name was. They went kind of crazy with that opening sequence, and I was like, oh shit, like okay, So yeah, I could feel that in that moment. That was like probably the best X-Men. I like First Class as well too. X-Men.
Yeah, First Class is really good.
So good stuff with that. And Hugh Jackman has a brief cameo in there. Go fuck yourself is what he says.
Yeah.
So it's good stuff. But
I kind of was hoping you'd say that in Deadpool, where Deadpool and Wolverine, when Deadpool went to him at the bar. I was like, oh, please say go fuck yourself. But he didn't.
Because I'm thinking, was that the same guy? You know what I mean? I'm just in my head, I'm thinking he kind of had the same aura, like, go fuck, But hey, who knows? But time travel gets complicated according to Deadpool anyway. So, but with this film, MCU definitely is back on track, and then they go right into Comic-Con weekend. Well, I think it's brilliant. I think this is what Marvel is going to do going forward. When they have big films like this, release it before Comic-Con, and then you kind of do your victory lap in Hall H. That's what they did with Deadpool Wolverine. And then they march out freaking. They bring out freaking RDJ, Paul. Like,
he's back.
Whoa! Like, when did you kind of see this moment? When did you hear of this? And just what? Are you buying into this hype? Because some people think it's desperate. I love it.
I'm fully into the hype. Yeah, I'm fully into the hype. I got up to do it in the night. So I normally hear stuff ahead of time. Right, I'm not being like, oh, I'm in the fucking no, I know everything. But normally it's normally a case of, hey mate, I'm gonna have to get up at 2 a.m. to cover this event. Is it worth it? Because it's normally that kind of level. It's not like I'm gonna put cryptic clues out on Twitter of things I know and put little eyeball emojis. It's literally just like I can't be asked getting up. Yeah, it's like I can't be asked getting up, mate. Can you just tell me if it's gonna be good? And they were saying, oh, from what I've heard, it's the Fantastic Four announcement. It's Thunderbolts trailer, some Fantastic Four footage, which might be worth covering. They said, and what was the other one? Captain America: Brave New World. And they said that's all they'd heard, and maybe some clarity on what's happening with Jonathan Majors. and the next 2 Avengers films. So I thought, oh right, I'll get it. I'll do that. And then yeah, they kind of brought out all the big guns for it. They didn't just clarify. They were like, just came out swinging their dicks. They're like, the Russo brothers. Like, you were there. So what was it like?
Yeah.
Like, what was
my goodness, man!
I can imagine it's like hypes there, and then the Russo brothers come out, and then it's like flying cars and shit or whatever, and then it's like Steve McQueen, and it's like Iron Man. Yeah,
I have like a near viral clip. My experience,
no
and actually, it's like, I guess fuck it. Let's throw this up here if it works in real time here. So this is when the Russo brothers came out. They confirmed the Russo brothers were, doing it. We knew this like weeks ahead, right, Paul? Like, I'm sure you heard. Yeah, the Russo brothers, they're likely back for the next 2 films. They go in, and this experience was crazy, okay? Because I'm thinking like, yeah, okay, the next film's in 2025. Russo's back, and that's it, right? Good day for Marvel. They go further, which was amazing.
Colliding with epicness. All of this made Joe and I understand that we would need to make another essential movie first in order for all of us to be ready for Secret Wars.
Milk this.
One very, very important character that is required to do Secret Wars justice. And it's a character that Marvel has not introduced yet.
Bro.
And it could be the most important character in all of the Marvel universe.
Oh my! And it goes green, Paul. Like that fucked me up. I'm like, what is going on, bro? Right? And so they're like killing this. I'm in the marketing, and I love right. It's Enchantress. Enchantress returns. I would have left.
What is happening, bro?
Yo, crazy, bro. Fucking Doomsday, bro. Like, it's like, how do you say FUDC more than this title, Paul?
Yeah, I mean, I read this whole thing on Twitter as it was unfolding. I just read tweets, but seeing it in the video, wow, even more
crazy. Hype. So yeah, let's go further with this. It was crazy. That's your no King Dynasty, right? Just Doomsday.
Yeah.
Now, listen, if we're gonna bring Victor Von Doom to the screen, he's one of the more complex characters in all of comics, right, Kevin? I mean, this is potentially one of the more entertaining characters in all of fiction. If we're gonna do this, if we're gonna bring him to movie theaters worldwide, then I think we're gonna need the greatest actor.
Oh my God.
In the world to play that character. Okay, ladies and gentlemen,
in the world.
as proof of the unimaginable
they went this far.
possibilities in the Marvel universe, we give you the one person who could play Victor Von Doom.
This is gonna be nice.
This is crazy, bro.
Yeah.
I jumped up. I literally jumped. That's my buddy Josh right there.
So good.
New mask. Oh my God. Same task. Yo! What did I tell you? I like playing complicated characters.
Crazy.
Yeah, amazing.
And then this chant.
What is happening?
Wow.
In Hall H, the chant was crazy.
What is happening?
Yeah.
Like Robert.
There it is. Insane.
I mean, that's going to go down as one of the biggest comic book announcements ever, really, isn't it? Yeah.
It was probably
Comic-Con announcements, yeah.
Yeah, it was probably the biggest announcement ever, I think, in Hall H history. Like, insane, right? Like
Yeah.
because we go through all range of emotions. Like we know they had to address Avengers 5, right? Up to this point, Paul, we're like, okay, we know Jonathan Majors, you got to do something with King. People thought he'll be recast. Then they do the Doomsday. Okay, you're gonna have Dr. Doom. Okay, we'll find out next year, right? Then they go into it, RDJ. Do you think this is gonna work? Because people think that was desperation by Marvel. I'm of the opinion
I mean, it
They had
was.
to be a little desperate. What do you think?
Well, look, desperation breeds creativity. I think especially when you're in a business that kind of thrives off good ideas, and the best idea gets butts in seats and gets people excited to see the film. And this is the best idea. Like people are like, oh, they should have cast someone like this, and they'll put up, and it's like, come on, mate, that's not gonna be like a big, RDJ is just gonna.
Yeah,
it's going to be the biggest movie of all time until Avatar 3. It's going to be crazy. It's I mean, just for the fact it's the guy who started the MCU coming back as a villain, and the multiverse saga has been all about celebrating, the past. Obviously, Deadpool and Wolverine celebrated Fox. No Way Home celebrated all the Raimi and Garfield films. It makes sense to have top off the multiverse saga with the celebration of the guy who got you to this point. So it works. It's desperate, but it's genius.
They needed to be desperate because you had to answer the Jonathan Majors problem without really talking about it. So now it's like, okay, no more King Dynasty, Doomsday, right? RDJ.
Yeah.
We don't have to talk about Jonathan Majors no more.
I forgot who posted it, but someone was talking about how it's like wrestling, where if you cancel your main event, you then need to do a bigger event, and that wins people around. And it's exactly that. I mean, I don't know. We've got a rough figure of how much RDJ is getting paid to do this. But there's people complaining about it, but it's going to be worth every penny, I think.
My grandma called me after this announcement. Like, that's how big RDJ is. My grandma never calls me about comic book stuff ever. Like RDJ's match? Like, is it true? So this film's gonna do $2 billion.
Probably, I think it'll be one of those films that everyone goes to see multiple times. I think it'll be like an Avengers thing where it's just kind of, it's building up everything again. And when you think about the cast that was in Avengers, obviously they built it up from the start of the MCU. The cast for Secret Wars is going to be even more insane. I mean, it's going to have Hugh Jackman Wolverine on screen with Tobey Maguire from Spider-Man. It's going to be if you've lived these movies, it's everyone. It's every single person you've wanted to see on screen together who hasn't been because of stupid red tape around studios.
They want to top the Endgame moment with Secret Wars. Now, Doomsday is going to like the setup. Secret Wars, like, you got the Russos back, you got the writers.
The Russos as well,
Endgame.
Exactly. Like, you've got that. You've got your A-star team. You've got everyone, the right ingredients. All the ingredients of success in the past are now here, but you've got more ingredients because you've got so many other massive actors who were part of other franchises. Like Hugh Jackman Wolverine, he was off in his own franchise. And for him to now be part of this it's insane.
Insanity. And I mean, for fans, because I want to be fans of this stuff. I mean, if it's shit, it's shit. But like if it's hype, like I'm all with it, man. And I think they're trying to go there with it. Overall, with what Marvel's trying to do, and I'm saying we'll see. And I will say with the RDJ thing before we go to our last topic. The original Secret Wars, like that, I think what was that in the 80s or Dr. Doom, you thought he was the villain, but then he actually sacrificed himself to stop the Beyonder to save reality. So I think RDJ, I don't think he's gonna be straight up villain, probably like Thanos, like with motivations. And I think there's gonna be like some cool, moment there where, like I said, it's very full circle. He started the Marvel universe. He's going to be there at the end before this, they're going to do a reboot, right? After Secret Wars. So, he's going to be the one that kind of closes. It feels right. feels right
Yeah,
happening.
and I don't think RDJ would have just signed on to any. I think the idea must be good. I really do think the idea must, and the fact they're doing it over 2 films, we know we're not getting a rushed villain where it's going to be 2
Right.
films at least. You'd probably be in Fantastic Four in some form or another. They're really putting their all into it.
Cameo, Fantastic Four.
Yeah, yeah.
Fantastic Four is going to go nuts once it, because I do believe he's going to be in a. Before this announcement, I was hearing Dr. Doom will be in a post-credit scene for Fantastic Four, like before RDJ. So if you're going to do it now, that film's going to go nuclear as well. Fantastic Four, which has some pretty good footage. They had there as well too.
The trailer looks really good. Really good. Yeah.
You got Galactus, big head coming in there. It's crazy. It was pretty crazy seeing that. So, hey, I'm all for what Marvel's trying to do with this. I think, like I said, yeah. Does it feel desperate? Yes. But I think they had to be desperate because you had to pivot from Kang. You had to do it in real time. So, might as well bring back Oscar-winning RDJ.
Yeah, and it's probably going to be better than what we would have got with Kang, to be honest. I still never understood why they went with Kang for Secret Wars when Doctor Doom is the villain in both versions of Secret Wars.
Exactly.
And I think this, it's a great thing. And I know there's people complaining about it. I think there'll be whenever people get cast, there's always complaints. It's like no matter who gets cast, there's always like this guy's
Heath Ledger, Ben Affleck, Batman. Like anytime someone's cast, someone's upset somewhere. So that's the internet for you. And we're just shields now, Paul. Now, now overall, we're looking forward to again these next 2 years. I think are going to be amazing, leading up to Doomsday, Avengers. But on the DC side, our final topic here. I'm gonna get your touch on here. It's been a weird division of DC fans that I don't know why.
Who's the real fan?
I don't know why. Like this has become a thing. I mean, Zack Snyder. I love the films he did. Man of Steel, BVS. Especially the Ultimate Edition, and the Snyder Cut. We got the Snyder Cut, the 4-hour film that everyone agrees is much better than what we got with Justice League. Now we know, I think a lot of this hinges on, Paul, is Henry Cavill was coming back. He was at the end of Black Adam, right?
Black Adam, yeah.
And then they hired Black Adam, didn't do the numbers they want. It didn't get much over 400 million, right? So that wasn't a success. And I love Black Adam. I love the JSA in that film. Pierce Brosnan, Dr. Fate. Come on now, that's amazing in that film, but.
That theme is my exercise song. I literally go for runs and have that. I
love
Black Adam.
It motivates you. It's so though I'm a huge fan, I was a huge advocate for Black Adam and everything The Rock was trying to do, setting up Black Adam versus Superman. It didn't do the numbers, and then they hired James Gunn, Peter Safran for DC Studios. And now we have just this division. DC fans, I guess, feeling James Gunn shitting on Zack Snyder, or I don't know. I think it's now that I'm saying this out loud, Paul, I think it's because Gunn didn't use Cavill. This is probably the root of the problem. What do you think?
I think it was kind of. I think Henry Cavill did get screwed over, and they even make a joke about it in Deadpool, where he was out of it for so long, and then they had that big announcement where he posted, he came back for Black Adam. Even in the build up to Black Adam, The Rock, was like, Henry Cavill's gonna. He pretty much spoiled that Henry Cavill was in it.
He did.
And then obviously Cavill. Yeah, Cavill put out the post. We heard that Man of Steel 2 was getting written. It's just mismanagement. I think it built people's hopes up, and then I remember. Do you remember those Instagram posts where it was just like black background, white text explaining why actors weren't going to be in the MCU, in the DCU anymore? And I think after Cavill put one out saying he was back, and then the next one saying, unfortunately, it's bad news. It's obviously going to annoy people. The blame falls on James Gunn. He's made his choice. Is the blame all his fault? probably not if DC were, you know, playing two camps against each other behind the scenes and saying like, look, we're going with you, and then telling other people, no, you're coming back. It's difficult. I can see why people are annoyed. I can totally get it. But for me, and if you look at some of my videos around the time, I got so much hate for being like, I don't think James Gunn should have fired everyone, or they should have waited until. Or I've always said I think James Gunn should have just done a clean slate instead of what he's done, which is like some of this stuff's canon, and Peacemaker 2's canon in some way to this first season, but it's not. But Amanda Waller's still in the universe. I think it should have all just been a clean slate. Get rid of everything, and I think they should have waited until after Aquaman was released and then announced the new DCU. I don't think they should have done it when they still had films coming out like Shazam and stuff. I think in The Flash, I think it just killed all the hype for that for me personally. So yeah, I think it was just poor management, and I think fans got frustrated after 10 years of poor management with stuff. But for me personally, I just don't. I'll always have a thing in my brain where I'll hit a point of negativity where my brain, so some voice in my head will be like, "You've been too negative," and I'll just snap out of it and I'll focus back on being positive again. And I've hit that point now with the new Superman where I'm just like, "Look, it's getting made, whether I like it or not. Even if I've got issues with it or whatever's happened in the past." The people behind it, you know, I'm not involved in it. I don't know why I'm taking it personally offending me. I just need to give it a chance, and you know, hopefully all this bad stuff, some good will come from it, and we'll get a good movie out of it at the end of the day with one of my favorite characters.
So you're a pretty big Superman fan. So because I you know, obviously you know, all of us are Batman fans, right? I've been more of a Batman fan. I became more of a Superman fan after Man of Steel, actually. Like actually seeing Cavill Superman made me look into Superman more. And so I get it, like you said, I get the frustration for sure. I just think it's kind of blurring like what's there, and I guess the potential that could be there for this Superman film. And you have some kind of pseudo Justice League in there. And what your take on just James Gunn's films up to this point? I think all of us agree Guardians, at least 2 of the 3, if not all 3 Guardians films was pretty good that Gunn did. DC, and I don't want to speak for you with the Marvel stuff, but DC, did that land for you, his Suicide Squad and Peacemaker?
I like Suicide Squad. I like Peacemaker. They're not necessarily what I want from DC, if that makes sense. But it's for me, like Watchmen, I think's a brilliant movie. Again, V for Vendetta, I think's great. I've always tended to gravitate to. I know it's like a stereotype and a cliche to say DC's dark, but for me, that's personally what. And I know that that's not the case. I know there are bright superheroes and stuff, but that's kind of, for me at least, where I go to with DC. James Gunn, I think, and I did like Suicide Squad. I just don't know as overseeing everything if he's like, if it's, you know what I mean? If it's like a fully online where that's like everything, like Matt Reeves' Batman. If they were like, oh, Matt Reeves' Batman universe, Penguin stuff, I'm totally in with that because that's my sensibilities. It'd probably be a lot of dick jokes, probably be a lot of jokes in general. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna give it a chance. I'm trying to be positive.
That's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah,
I'm like, I'm gonna give it a chance, and like Gunn, he has to kind of prove to, you know,
I think the
DC
Authority
fans,
will be really good. I think that's like the Authority is like literally perfect for him. I think he's good with niche characters. You know, obviously Guardians. I don't know how he is with the big guns yet. I think people can be a lot more forgiving of lesser characters because there's less personal stakes. And you do see this with the bigger franchises. There's way more nitpicking, you know, over the casting of Batman than there is over the casting of Blue Beetle, because the fan base is just so him being in charge of those bigger characters, I don't know. Whereas if like Rocket Raccoon does a dick joke, it's like, oh, that's fine. But I even remember the Peacemaker finale when people were like annoyed about the fucks fish joke. You know what I mean? Yeah. So we'll probably get more of that.
Man.
I think it's when it's the bigger characters, it's like you prepare for more backlash.
Yeah, I'm probably less confident now after you just said that. I think like
I've just talked myself down.
But with Superman, like you said, big guns, man, and James Gunn, he has to really be careful how he portrays and how he launches this world because, bro, if he gets off on the wrong foot, like he's gonna get a lot of backlash, for this.
Yeah,
so.
and I wish they'd stop announcing these movie like massive slates when it's like your first movie hasn't even been a hit yet. Just put everything into that. Like Christopher Nolan didn't come out and be like, "We're doing Batman Begins, then we're doing The Dark Knight, then we're doing The Dark Knight Rises." It was just like very focused on that first film and making sure that was good. And even The Dark Knight, they didn't walk away from that or put anything in that where it's like we're teasing a sequel down the line. We've got a big slate planned. And I think that's kind of the problem that Hollywood's run into in general. Like, how many failed universes have we seen? There's so many where it's like the Ghostbusters universe, and there's the which they ended up canceling, and then they had the reboots, and it's like the Dark Universe and
Dark Universe. Yeah.
Everyone's just seen the success with Marvel and is trying to imitate it, and they don't realize that Marvel didn't even really plan on doing that in the first place. So we're like, let's make Iron Man and then go from there.
Yeah, that's something that's been lost in this, like you said, universe building. You gotta make a good film first. Like, let's get that first one out. No announcements of what's going to happen after that. And maybe that was a mistake, with Gunn feeling he had to do a whole slate, which he didn't even have directors attached to yet or anything.
And I think the issue with that as well was he was having to explain other films that hadn't released yet that weren't made by him as part of his plan to kind of be like, well, Blue Beetle's off in its own thing, and it kind of feels standalone, so we could bring it in. It's like you making this way
clunky.
too like complex before you've even released a film.
That is true, because like with Batman Begins, you raised a good point where it was just about this story for Nolan. Then he does the Joker card at the end. He's like, oh snap! Like, I like this movie. Let's see. Then we get Dark Knight, and with Iron Man. It was no announcement. Oh, we're gonna do Avengers. They just had Nick Fury show up at the end.
Yeah,
like,
but DC know this because they made Joker, and they made the Batman, and even the Batman, Matt Reeves didn't come out and be like, "I'm making 15 Batman projects." It was just like, "Oh, I'm just making a Batman movie." It's not part of this thing. It's just we're just making one Batman film, and Joker as well. And both of those movies did really well. And it's kind of like you can see that, that's the way to go. They're both, I don't know. I think the shared universe business models kind of screwed a lot of things.
Like you said, though, I think with Gunn, I think he's capable of making a quality project. I do believe that. I think Guardians 3 is more where I kind of want to, if he's going to, with the Superman film. Because it was a nice mix of, it wasn't just all jokes the whole time. Like, it was some serious stuff with Rocket Raccoon. So the potential's there. He could do action as well. The third act of Guardians 3, that battle scene was pretty awesome. So I'm giving it a chance. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see what happens.
To me, the guy hasn't made a bad film yet. It's just his sense of humor. But he's probably aware of that as well.
Yeah, so we'll see. Jury's still out. We'll see what happens with that Superman film, and DC fans will, if they will forever fight from that. But appreciate Paul, you being here, man. This was cool to kind of talk about some current stuff. And any big plans out of the ordinary you're doing, or you kind of just cover the current stuff, right? Spoiling everything, right?
Yeah, we do like the classic movie breakdowns, but I just haven't had a chance to go back to them. I was in the middle of doing Alien Resurrection, which I wanted to get out months ago, and then I had my holiday and all the shit with House of Dragon and the boys and stuff, and that's just been where my focus is. It's difficult to do like an hour-long House of the Dragon breakdown every week and also watch Alien Resurrection. So
I feel you. I feel you on that, man.
I'll be back.
Yeah, for sure. We gotta get you back on here when some more big news comes out, and stuff that you're covering. Of course, if y'all don't know his channel already, the link's in the description. But I think you already know
thank you.
where to find this guy.
They better.
Here. But definitely better. But definitely appreciate you coming on here, sharing with me.
No, thank
you.
And
we'll
the check coming?
We'll be in touch, bro. I just want at least 1%. I'm good with 1%, man. I really am. We'll appreciate you again. Thanks for everyone watching this. When y'all watch it, till next time, interview series. Paul of Heavy Spoilers, folks. Till next time.
Take care, mate.